Hey everybody, welcome to the Buy List. This is episode 81.
This is not financial advice. This is cardboard.
Wow.
I was
Not great.
nervous after I literally blew up the episode last time. So that wasn't my greatest effort. But the
Yeah.
show must go on.
Yes. So Nate, how was your week in Flesh and Blood?
It was great. I got to play the Bolton Armory deck for the first time with the upgrades. Went a clean 1-2, baby. Got our boy Josh on him forgetting that I added beacons to the deck. and I killed him from 10. I just said, empty soul. This is now 12. And he goes, oh. And then I was actually pretty impressed with the deck, how it held up. I died to an Acilio combo that was ridiculous. And then I played a game against my own Fang deck, which felt like cannibalism. But game was actually relatively close for a fully constructed deck versus the Bolton Armory deck with a couple upgrades.
Yeah.
So actually pretty pleased with how it turned out. So got another gem pack, which I think we have the short up on the channel for now.
We got week one up, so we got your upgrades from this week, and then the week we're behind a week. The next little short will be coming out shortly for that one.
Yes. So
Yep.
looking to make a couple of tweaks to the deck with how it played. But really excited to keep it rolling.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's it'll be cool to see you keep upgrading that. See if you can't get to that 3.0. The gym packs. If you didn't see the short, go check it out. Your first week of gym packs definitely got you rolling quite quickly with that $50 bill, essentially, because I believe you won your armory, so you got a couple extra gym packs.
Yes.
So that was pretty sweet. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, but that'll be cool to see you keep progressing on those. I think it's really neat. Maybe one of these weeks you can nab one of those cold foil weapons and then really get some legendaries or something, get some armor upgrades.
Yeah.
My week in Fab was I set down Florian and sleeved up Vincent. I actually haven't played Vincent since a long time. It's been like maybe 8 months to a year because she was just frustrating.
Yeah.
And everybody's been telling me that she's gotten way better with Rosetta, which is obvious, right? The Malefics are just a huge upgrade. I decided to sleeve her up since she is a little bit better into Syndra and maybe into Fang. Probably not. She's good into Syndra and Aurora. Essentially, is Fang has some blues, so he can manage, and then also he can block because that's the secret, guys. If you want to beat Vincent, you just block everything. You never take a damage when they present Deathly Wail, and there's nothing she can do about it. She literally just folds a wet paper bag. But don't do that. Just have fun. Let her play. Since I'm playing her. But no, I had some fun. I took her to 2 armories this week, and the results weren't great, but it's like trying to ride that old bicycle, right? I'm like, how do I do this again? And then it's just I play it out. I'm like, oh, I had an extra action point here. You know what I mean? It just her play lines are very like hidden almost. They're not obvious. So it's just like you're always counting like action points and like resources and like how do I get an extra rune chant here? Which is fun. It's a fun puzzle. And but no, I really did enjoy playing her. Didn't get to play against a Syndra or Aurora, which is who I was targeting. But yeah, still had some fun, and she's definitely better. So I've been a hater for too long, so I decided to put her back together.
I found too that like over the course of like my Fab career, I've set down decks that feel like where like they nerf something out of it and it's like this isn't the deck that I loved. And for you it's like this isn't Chain. I don't actually want to play with you. But then you pick it back up and you're like, oh yeah, this is broken still. Like when they remove Winter's Wail, I'm like, I don't want to play old him anymore. What fun is it?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, still real
she
good.
just does stuff that's insane at times though. That's the thing is she either does nothing and you brick so hard that you lose the game instantly, or you're like doing something that's wait, this should be illegal. I was down, it was like 15 to 36 and the game was like down to one life and I was like totally in it because I just chained together three turns of just put out malefics, put out like all this stuff where I have all this extra generation, do a double turn, a double attack turn. So then you're attacking for 20 because of a bunch of rune chants, and you're just whoa. You close. She can close very quickly. I just wish I could do that while I had tempo. I always tend to miss the window just slightly, or
Yeah.
I get tempo and draw four non attacks, and I'm like, oh my god.
You're like, I just need to end this game, and
Yes.
I literally can't even attack you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I think we might have talked about it before, Nate, maybe even on the pod, is that I think that her end game is so difficult. You get under 10 health and it feels like your opponent's under 10 health with you, and you're like, dude, this is a mountain. I can't climb this. If you don't have a malefic out or something, you're just like, I think I'm gonna lose.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times it does. I don't know how they fix her because it's like it's very much Levia's problem before she got her demi hero, where you were just like you just died and then you were like sad about it. You did all this powerful stuff and then you can't get past the end game.
Yeah.
It's tough. But
Yeah, you make one small misstep that
yeah.
might even be the correct line, like in that turn
Mhm.
cycle, but you have to think like 2, 3 turn cycles away. Where it's okay, yeah, like I know I can't pay for this deadly whale right now, but I'm gonna be able to. And
Yeah.
then you put it in your blood debt, and then you have to give them your full hand, or you can't find a way to like actually generate more rune chance 3 turns
Yeah.
in a row, and you're like, the deadly whale's dealt me 4 damage now, and
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
I'm at 2, and I only have
Right. Yeah.
2 rune chance instead of the one I started with. I'm in danger.
Yeah. I will say the biggest yeah, before moving on, the biggest thing with her has actually been call and succumb.
Yeah,
Those two cards, I've had it a couple times where they lined up together, and that can flip the script quite quickly as well. And also makes your call in your banish zone makes your opponent play so awkwardly because they're like, geez, I should just block this because you're gonna call me anyways. And I'm like, I'll take a blood debt. Let's go next. Like I'll be like, no, I'm gonna hit you next time when you hit me for a dagger for one. I'm just gonna be like, and now we're gonna call.
yeah,
So it's that card's been very interesting, quite powerful, but you
yeah,
got to watch because you do have to banish out of your hand too. But
yes,
all right, moving on, Nate, to our first topic. We talked a lot about the hunted last week. We're gonna. It's amazing how much a week can change things.
yeah.
Because wave two of product hit, and we wanted to circle back because it has been an interesting week or so. It probably was happening last week when we recorded, but it's taken full effect here. But TCG player has definitely been flooded. Not flood. It's not like a massive flood, but there's a lot of stock on TCG player now.
All the singles seem to have settled into their kind of like their slots, their places,
Hmm.
and it's not like inventory's that thin anymore.
Hmm.
Previously, the inventory was it. It was like if you blow hard enough, that house is gonna fall over, and sometimes you don't even have to blow that hard, and the house would fall over. It's to a point now where everything's stuck. Where this is where things are gonna sit for a while until something shifts. Like
Yeah.
it either. I think all of these heroes are very playable, and I I should say I think all of the heroes besides Mario are very, and they're going to be playable for a while and be meta contenders from the looks of
Hmm.
it. It just depends on what High Seas looks like.
Yeah.
Because dear God, if there's any hero that can play Melting Point and High Seas, Fang Gang, I'm sorry, but we won't be able to actually play the video game anymore. Um, so it'll be interesting to see how this set matures. Like we're seeing Rosetta go crazy nuclear
Hmm.
as it appears that the set is just evaporated. There's
Yeah.
nothing of anything. It's all gone. Nothing exists anymore. The only thing that exists still are freaking Acilio's arms for the 10,000 years he's been asleep waiting to freaking fight the ancients. So
Yeah.
it's, but then you look at all of the previous sets of like heavy hitters, missed fail, all of those sets are, I guess heavy is like slowly gone that way of
Yeah.
Rosetta, but
Yeah, Rosetta's been the quickest set in 2.0 that's just, "Oops, we're gone now." I don't know. Yeah, it definitely, I don't know if there's, like, a bunch of there's a couple pallets hiding out there somewhere, I don't know. It definitely feels super thin. It feels like those cards have sold super quickly. Um,
yeah.
I know this, Nate, because every week when I go to do a market minute on the weekend, I'm, like, forcing myself not to do 6 Rosetta cards because it's like, there's 5 of these non-foil left on TCG Player, guys. Hello. And so it's like, dude, you just talked about Rosetta cards last week. Like, I like literally have to like click the button and not look at Rosetta cards because there's just so many. This week was like current funnel. I was looking to the armory deck for the Aurora armory deck. I was like, oh, there's under 10 current funnels non-foil on TCG Player right now. I'm like, holy smokes. And it's like that on a lot of cards in Rosetta. So
Yeah. It's everything's Call to the Grave is $16. And
crazy.
ain't nobody put that in a deck without memeing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that is literally $16 on the hopes and dreams that Necromancer is coming in high seas.
Yeah. Also, we might have helped do that. We might have done that because Brian was on this channel saying, "Yeah, call the grave. We might regret printing that one day."
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I think we definitely, the art
But
was probably
that,
the main driver, but Brian coming on here and being like, "Hint, wink, wink, like this card's super. This card could be super powerful in the future."
that wasn't our fault. That's Brian's fault.
But yes,
We'll blame Brian for that one.
but yeah, there's just some. It'll be interesting to see what happens to the hunted. Like you said, it's settled in. Yo, Ignite, where you at, dude? $6. I think that's right where we put it, dog.
Don't
I
look at
mean,
anything else though.
that was one that we definitely missed, I think, on release. But I think if you're looking for hunted cards, and it'll be interesting to see how much this has happened, because I think there was definitely cross pro, like it was hard to get into the hunted compared to other sets. It didn't do that kind of fall to the, race to the bottom and then go up. We started at the top and then now we're falling down a little bit because of the limited availability of the product. So maybe there's a bunch of people that were waiting for this and now we're going to get some buy off, but it's going to take a lot because wave two definitely filled in. And like you said, I don't think it's going to move prices all that much, but people will start probably, oh, this Cinder deck isn't expensive anymore. Let me pick it up. So,
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see too. It is this was the last week for RTNs, so is that also a factor where it's like people got the cards for the decks that they wanted, and maybe they held off on Syndra because they just didn't feel like playing it this season, but maybe next season they're like, okay, Syndra's still one of the
mhm.
best decks. I'm just gonna play it, try to get my invite to Singapore, and Prage.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Overall, I think we talked about this a little bit last week too. Aside from the very thin inventory at the beginning in the boxes, it was a pretty successful launch, I think. I'd much rather have we've talked, I think we founded this channel on this talk, is that we much rather would have LGS is able to sell Flesh and Blood for $100 a box or more than what we've seen in the past, right? Like sets dropping and then going directly to map, or is it map? I don't know. Or like directly to $85 is like not where you want to be at. So I think LGS is really, we're probably pretty hyped about the overall hype for the hunted and the price change.
The I think stores were probably hesitant to see the price go up again, and then to see how successful the Hunted went on release, where it didn't matter what you did. If you opened the box as a store, you did well. If you yeeted the boxes sealed,
Mm-hmm.
you did well. Like you
Yeah.
weren't you could easily go and sell them online versus like in the past you were really relying on like your local community to come in and buy boxes from you. So if it was a set that they weren't as hyped about, maybe they didn't buy as much, you sit on a little bit more product. This time around, you couldn't keep products on your shelves, which I think is good. I think you have to have product on your shelves, but you also have to make sure that the LGSs make money, which is important because they drive the business for LSS. Yeah, I
Yep.
think it's really good to see people think about it too, because like it, everyone was excited all the way around, but it's the fact that stores are now like stores who might have stopped carrying flesh and blood, or maybe like they talk to a nearby store and they
Hmm.
say, "Oh, really? You did that with the hunted?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we give flesh and blood another shot."
Yeah.
And then you see the numbers for the freaking RTNs. Like
Yeah.
I had one of our local judges messaged in our Discord that he's got like a little like a baby judge that he's mentoring, not like an actual
Hmm.
baby. I don't
Yeah. Yeah.
actually I don't know. It could actually be a baby. And they had a 75 person RTN.
Whoa.
Like
Yeah.
places are selling out. Like it's hard to get in.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you save your slot because spots
Right.
fill up. And even the RTN that we were at, they were like, if it gets to a point where we can't even keep the third, if we're getting so much request at 32 per people, we'll go
Hmm.
get the community center and go up to 64.
That's sick. Yeah.
So,
That was
like,
cool to see or cool to hear. Yeah, for sure. And that's where it's funny. That's where I was going too, right? So you take the 100 launch, you back that up with RTN numbers that are like impressive all around the country, all around the world, actually, to be honest. And then I think the next thing that kind of leads us into our next topic, but with the high seas, I think again, looking at LGS is the new pre-release and like how that's going to work. I think on the dev talk, James White talked about this a bit, where they're going to be changing pre-releases. So that gives another like tip and nod to LGSs, which I think is just three good things right in a row to really like like you said, maybe gain back some stores that were lost during bright lights, or maybe even Misveil, because honestly we talked about it a little bit. Misveil's launch was like super hype and super good, but then also that set like singles and boxes
died.
fell into a crater super quick, which is not ideal. But
I
yeah, I
mean,
think they're lining up a couple great things in a row, man.
I will preface, yes, bright lights like really cratered, really fell off hard, but high seas has the potential to do the same thing. So
Yeah.
because it's the same recipe, right? Like the reason that there's a lot going on with Misfail, there's a
Yeah.
lot of product available. There's a Japanese release, so like there's even Japanese product that was available.
Hmm.
Um, you had U.S. nationals basically right after release,
Yeah.
and then there was almost no competitive season for months afterwards because there was an overseas pro tour. Which
Yeah.
that pro tour was Amsterdam, which is more reasonable to get to for the US than Singapore. So
Yeah.
high seas has the exact same equation going into it that Mistvale did. High
Yeah.
hype, potentially a lot of product. US Nationals is literal release weekend now. No competitive season afterwards in the US forever. I don't they haven't announced it yet, but there will be like a competitive season, but they did hint that Worlds is in the US, which that is going to be like the next major, but there's not been a major
Yeah.
in the like a major in the US since PTLA. So there's been a big void here. But last year,
Yeah, that's a good point. There'll be a ProQuest season for PT spring PT next year, right? Like
yes,
before Worlds. So
yes, yep.
yeah, and then it's all cyclical, right? So next year the US and or North America should be busy next year, to be honest, because things are going to rotate, right?
Hopefully,
Pro
but
Tour Singapore, right? It was Europe. We're going to get it's our turn to get the Pro Tour again. We won't get Worlds, but yeah, like I said, that was a long transition there to our next point. But we did want to talk about high seas a little bit too.
Yeah.
So no new news for high seas, but putting together notes for the show, Nate, you brought up a good point about
Don't
just
buy real
the
then.
don't buy real then. Yeah, there's been the hype for high seas is I think the theme really works with a lot of people. I've been going back all the way before Worlds. I've been pointing towards, hey, Ranger has been seen no love for a long time. You got hints to Ranger and the high sea. You got hints to like pirate rangers and themes of pirates with trench and things like that. So I think Ranger is probably, I don't know. Ranger's probably one of those high likelihood classes, right? It's been a long enough since Outsiders. But that's leading to we're not breaking news here. Like you said, if you look around on TCG Player and what's been selling and things like that, Ranger cards are getting bought. You mentioned Call to the Grave, $16. Obviously, that's a high seas adjacent spec as well. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think the main point here is maybe just be careful. Like some of these cards, again, I think we've always preached read the cards. If you're going to buy cards now, you want to make sure that they're not very specific and niche. Like Reel In, like you mentioned, is pretty niche. So,
Plan for the worst. It is actually just the worst. Um, and that was like it hits on like another core tenet of like why we started doing this like literally over
yeah,
2 years ago now, which is crazy to think, is we wanted to make sure that we helped people navigate this crazy market, which is what it is. Like people are like, it's
yeah,
cards. It's a marketplace. It's a marketplace of cardboard rectangles with tiny little pictures on them, and some of them are shiny and some of them are not shiny. We wanted to help guide people through it because it is crazy. There's a lot of FOMO involved, and we wanted to try to help people avoid that.
yeah,
A lot of the Ranger cards that are getting like Reel In is like a $9 card right now on TCG Player. I'm gonna give y'all a hint. If they even show Riptide's ankle in a card, do not go buy this card. It's terrible.
yeah,
You can
yeah,
slice this card 8 ways to Sunday, and it's terrible. Yeah, I don't care I don't care. Like it's just a terrible card, and I can't wait for this to get clipped after it's somehow busted. But like cards like Plan for the Worst, Reel In, Try Shot, like these are all not good cards.
yeah,
Like the Ranger, maybe if they design a Ranger that can generate arrows, but at the end of the day, if you don't put a shitload of arrows and pumps in your deck, you're gonna get fatigued.
yeah,
It's not gonna be particularly close. So, like when you're looking at buying cards ahead of the set release, like one, think about okay, if we're saying Ranger is in the set, let's also take a look at see what's happened in the last week or so. Like literally someone bought 28 try shots 2 days ago. And
yeah,
to that person, my brother in Christ, why you do this?
yeah.
That's not even good spec.
Yeah, the problem with that one is, and I think this is where you're going with it, Nate, is that I've learned this lesson like with money, with my money. I've made this mistake too, is that you got to remember if you're buying cards, first of all, if you're buying cards to flip them and spec on them, make sure that you're buying them with runway, right? Tri spec, for example, is $5 right now. Okay, it's a blue, it's a block three. Does it make sense at $5? Or like, and then also if you're like, don't buy 28 of them. You know how hard that is gonna. That's
It,
like it spikes up to 15. Yeah, you tripled your money, but how many try shots are you going to sell before it goes back to five? Like you would have to really pound the pavement to yeet 28 of them at a time, right? So you got to be careful, and it's not all about just the card too. Like I said, it's okay. um, for example, I guess on the flip side would be if you're not specking and you just want to play Ranger, Remorseless is what, 20-ish, $25.
Yeah.
Now, here's a card that has an on hit that's always relevant. It's an arrow and it's just solid, right? It's just all around solid. So now, if you want to play Ranger, again, moving away from the spec idea, this is the flip side I'm trying to bring up here is that now you pick up your playset. Maybe you're like, okay, I've been putting this off. It's stabilized at this price. I'll pick it up now so that I don't have to pay 50 each when there's a huge amount of hype and there's a Ranger in high seas. That's what you have to work the market in that way and make sure that you're not, like you said, FOMOing into cards that are like, man, this could be amazing. And then you're like, also, LSS has been very, not to pick on Tri-Shot again, but LSS has been very verbal about how much go again they're going to allow in their game. So how many times are you going to get go again and activate your bow? Like, Rangers have really good on hits. So I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think they'll get a lot of go again because when you can string together crazy on hits like Remorseless and Blood laced with
Right.
Blood lot or yeah, infecting shot, things like that, it becomes a little yeah, we've been here. We've seen this. Hello, Lexi. Yeah, it's just you got to be careful.
And you have to be careful with, so let's like specifically like this individual. I'm like coming right for you, and I'm sorry, whoever you are. I'm using you as an example. So let's say you buy 28 Tri Shots. They bought them at $5 a pop.
Yep.
So they just spent a total of. All right, we're going to the whiteboard. Teddy's gonna throw a whiteboard up. I know he's gonna do this in edit. He's doing it in edit. It's 140 bucks. Let's say your state tax is 5%.
Yeah.
You're spending like what, 150 bucks on 28 Tri Shots? If it goes up to $10, even if you resell them all at $10 on TCG Player, you're getting maybe like depending on are you like what kind of shipping situation you have set up, you might
Yeah.
be getting like $8 back a card, so you're profiting like 60 bucks and shipping out $30 or like 30 cards. Like it, speculating on a card like that is not the greatest. And listen, I was looking for some of my specs because I made some pretty terrible ones. I don't know if I still had any on my desk. I have a card called Tomaveo that I have, I think,
Oh
close to
my
20
god.
copies of. And no one should have 20 copies of that card. And I'm an idiot.
Bro, you talked me into that one.
I did. I definitely did talk you into that.
I have a stack of them in my dynasty inventory too, just for that one day.
And here's 15 copies of Heat Seeker. Do you
Yeah.
know when I purchased these, Teddy?
I
It
hope a
was
while ago.
January of 2023. I was playing Ice Lexi at Calling Indianapolis. I finished 22nd, 23rd,
Yeah.
and I was like, nobody knows. She's broken. And I was
Everybody.
like, and this was before Codex even came out. I was like, nobody knows. This card's gonna pop. This card's crazy in her. And then she was literally broken. She was top of the meta for over a year. And it was like sub $30. So it was like I probably spent like $1.50 a copy. I literally went to our boys at MinMax and I said, I want all. And they said, what? That's her? I said, yes, please, and thank you. And I still have all of them because it has not moved at all.
Nope. Nope,
It's
sure
starting
hasn't.
to move now.
Yeah.
But you can also just sit on them forever. And you have to think about, like you said, like, all right, how much can you realistically move if prices move up? Because there's cards like, look at Concealed Blade. That card,
Mhm.
like, little quarter dollar, dude.
What?
Oh, I think I just had a stroke.
Brain no work?
Ain't no work. All right, no one's listening anyways. It's fine. Um, and like that card popped to 15, 20 bucks. Like, look at all this dagger stuff. And then it's slowly come down
Yeah.
because no one actually plays that card in their decks.
Yep.
So that's the thing. Are you, even if, let's say, Tri Shot goes up to 10 bucks,
Yeah.
how many are you actually going to be able to sell at $10 before it falls back down to
Yeah.
sub five?
Yeah, especially if you're selling on TCG Player, right? That's the thing. TCG Player takes their cut. So you
Yeah.
bought them at 5, you pay a little bit of shipping, let's say, a little bit of tax. So now you're up to like over $6 ish, $6 and some change maybe on each of them. And then TCG Player, you're like, okay, so you started out doubling your money, but now you're getting paid 850 a piece for them because of TCG Player fees,
Yep.
and you paid over 6 for them, so you're making $2 a piece. And let me tell you, it's not fun shipping out a bunch of cards at $2 a piece profit. So it's not double. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah.
So
Even if it goes
it's
to
just
10 and the card ain't
yeah,
good.
exactly. There's a lot of that happening right now. That's a long drawn out talk about basically a lot of Ranger cards right now are seeing
The
price
speculation.
movement, a lot of speculation on them. And yeah, we just don't know a lot about the set at all. Actually, it's not even really, it's speculation that Rangers in the set, to be honest.
Yeah.
They
It's
haven't told us anything.
Treasure Sucking Treasure has something to say about that, but it,
Yeah.
highest likelihood is Ranger is in the set. So, but at the end of the day, don't, unless it's like, look at the sales data. If you go on the
Yeah.
TCG Player, if you scroll down past like the first option to buy the card, there's going to be a chart next to that chart that's going to say view more data. You can view all the recent sales and just
Yeah.
scroll to the bottom. See what it was selling for a week ago. And
Yeah.
if you see Try Shot was selling for $1.25 a week ago,
Yeah.
maybe hold off on buying it because like that card might not even get played. There's no
Yeah.
reason to play an inflated price now, even if you're a Ranger stand. Then like the difference between paying $5 and $10 a copy, it actually is like $15. But like the difference in getting completely juiced because the card's unplayable and
Hmm.
you spent $15 on a $1.25 card, pretty big difference. But
Yeah,
just be
for sure.
careful out there. Don't FOMO into things is the moral of the story.
Yep. Now it's time for a little bit of speculation about the high
Rampant
seas, right?
speculation?
Yeah, now that we got that out of the way. So yeah, Ranger just hasn't seen a lot of love, right? We're definitely looking for Ranger stuff to come in the high seas. Nate, what are the other classes you think could be in the high seas?
All right. This is going to be, should I start with the hottest take and then go to the coldest? Or should I go coldest to hottest?
We already did the no one's listening bit, so let's start with the hottest.
All right. What do you need on a ship, Teddy? You need a captain,
Yep.
you need a first mate,
Yep.
you need some deck hands.
Yep.
I think that's it. But
It might be
deck
more than that.
hands, you're on a ship. You're pushing big ass sails around and stuff. You got to be jacked, right? What's the most jacked class currently in Flesh and Blood? There's two,
Uh,
yes.
yeah, I was gonna say it's
It's
gonna be
either
Brute.
Guardian or Brute.
Yep.
But I think Brute has the tiniest card pool in Flesh and Blood.
Yeah, Brute's pretty. When you chop out Shadow Brute,
Yes, that's the other
Brute
thing.
does not surprisingly has very few cards.
Yeah, all of them. Look, 75% of them suck. That's the other thing. Is not only do they have the smallest card pool, that card pool is god awful.
Yeah, like half
It's
of them were in the age of these cards shouldn't block because bit number too big.
yeah, big
Heavy
number too
kind of
big, no
fixed a little bit
block.
of that.
Yeah, draw a discard. Good idea, no block. Yeah, or it's discard from hand. Me not know. Is 3 card 7? Good number. Come on now.
Hey, now heavy was good for y'all.
Yeah, but that was the first set of playable cards that Brute's gotten. And the only reason half of them are playable is because KO says all the fives are sixes. That's
That's
the only
very
reason.
true.
Like, this is the only reason half of that card pool is even usable. You have cards that don't have 6 in the bottom of them, which are basically unusable. And
Yeah.
then cards that have 5 in the bottom of them, which are only usable by KO. And then there's 25% where writers, I can use it. And it's like, yeah, but those don't block. And it's just like, it's embarrassing, folks. I think we could see some brute action.
Yeah. I think the data shows that we should be getting brute soon, and it could be in the high seas. Yeah, for sure.
More likely in Smash Palace, but I don't want to talk about that.
um, but there's not going to be two classes in this. If we're going to talk about Rangers, maybe brutes.
Yeah.
The next class, and I'll take this one on because I had a whole stream where I was opening boxes, and my chat and I came up with some sweet ideas. And actually, this is going to sound a little crazy because it feels like we do have a lot of this class in the game right now.
Yeah.
But bro, can we get hooked up with a mermaid that is an illusionist? Because that would be pretty sweet. Illusionist is very class locked. It does have believe it or not, the numbers of cards in the game overall are on the low-ish side. They're not. It's not like the lowest, right? Like you said, Brute
Yeah.
is definitely taking care of that. But yeah, Illusionist has a lot of class locked cards, not a lot of Illusionist cards. It would be very cool to have a mermaid that is an illusionist. It would be very fitting. Or I would take like an evil illusionist that's like a siren that is like trying to like seduce these pirates
Okay.
into her.
I'm calling my shot. I figured it out, Ted. I've gone into the Mind Palace, and I remember my prediction for Part the Mist Veil. All right. Spectral Procession.
Oh yeah, the
All
ghost.
the Soraya cards. We're getting spooky illusionist, baby. It's time.
We're dusting off this prediction. That
Spooky illusionist. She's gonna be a ghost illusionist, and
dude,
this time
that
she's
could
not
work too.
resurrecting the ghost of Ira though, which was a sick prediction. And Ira did come into the game, so I'm still calling that as I was right. Oracle wins again, but we get spooky illusionist who will have like little that will make like little ghost mates.
That would be pretty cool, man. The first thing that comes to mind is I don't even remember what movie that was. I
Pirates
don't
of the
know. There was like
Caribbean.
Caribbean, yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean 1 through 7 or something. There was one of them where there was like a full on ghost boat, and
Yeah,
that was pretty sick. I'm down with that idea as well.
ghost pirates.
Yeah, dude. All right, I'm game with that.
Tell me
And
that
then
doesn't sell. Like I'm all in. It's definitely illusionist, and it's gonna be a spooky illusionist who makes little ghost pirates and sails the high seas.
it would be very cool. Very cool.
That shit would sell boxes on boxes, baby. You thought the hunted was hot? Hoo,
Yeah,
hoo, hoo.
yeah,
Ghost pirates, baby.
for sure.
I got more ideas. Hit me up.
Yeah, for sure. And then I think the last thing, I don't know. I think the last class we could see mechanologist as well come back. It definitely has pretty low card number, even though it had a whole set to itself, which is crazy to think about. But it is sitting a little bit on the low side compared to other classes. And we got Truce too. That definitely looks like a mechanologist's hand shaking someone else's hand over a pirate map. That's some big foreshadowing, right? And my I've been saying this is I think it would be cool to have the Rangers be like the old school Pirates of the Caribbean wooden boats, sailboats, and the mechanologist from Metrics having steamboats, and then they battle. That would be pretty dope, right?
I'm all in.
Steampunk steamboats, dude. That would be sick.
God damn it. I'm gonna be very broke this set.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard not to buy a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
So I just took the hunted off, and I was like, I'm only Rune Blades now. But then as I talk through this, I'm like, I'm only Rune Blades and Mech and Ranger and just pirates.
And pirate. Yep.
And pirates. Give me all pirate set, please.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it would be cool. Um, And this is not financial advice. Don't like we just told you, don't spec on any of these classes. This is like full on just like wishful thinking for the ICs. I think whatever they do, I think the theme is just going to rock pretty hard in Wraith.
Sick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be really cool. Yeah, I think that's it, Nate. So I think we can wrap it up here, dude.
Yeah.
Please subscribe, guys. Thanks for listening. And we'll be back next week, eh?
Hey, we're from Canada, eh? And remember, put your money where your mouth is. Boop, boop, boop.
Peace.
Peace.